Perek HaMeichos Asfina Dav Peites, sponsored the Refu Shalema for Bava Basra Rivka. The Gemara brings two additional homiletic teachings. Number one, the theft of an individual is a more severe transgression than the theft of Hegdish, something sacred. Theft of an individual is effective as soon as the thief acquires the stolen item, depriving him of his property. Hegdish is theft only after he misappropriated, benefited from it. Number two, Hashem's attribute of blessing supersedes that of a human. The 11 verses of blessing in Bechukosai, beginning with Im Bechukosai, the letter Aleph, ending with the letter Tuf of the word Kamamius, indicates blessing from the whole Hebrew alphabet, whereas the curse is only 8, beginning with the letter Vav, V'im Bechukosai Timasu, ending with the letter Mem of the word Nafsham, 8 letters between them. Moshe Rabbeinu blessed with 8, beginning with the Vav of V'hayim Shemoah, ending with the word La'avdam, a Mem, 8 in between. His curse begins with V'hayim Shemoah, Loisishmu, a Vav, until Ve'ein Koneh, with a Hey at the end, the last letter before the first, indicating it emanates from the whole alphabet. The Gemara brings Brises teaching a source in the Torah for the laws of the Mishnah. One should not level where the custom is not to level, or not level where the custom is to level, based on the pasuk Even Shlema V'Tzedek Yaloch. The additional word V'Tzedek teaches avoid any form of measuring that could lead to fraud. One who sees another leveling will assume the custom is to level and end up paying the full amount for 2/3. Similarly, one cannot tilt when the custom is to balance, or vice versa. Rabbi Yehuda Misura derives from a related verse, possessing inaccurate weights will lead to poverty. Lo yeh lecha b'veischa efa ve'efa gedolo ktana. It is illogical to limit it only to one's house. The verse means he will not have money in his house. He will lose money he profited through stealing. Rabbi Yehuda applies the previous verse, Lo yeh b'kischa, to not having inaccurate weights. One will consequently prosper. A brisa derives from a verse, the courts must appoint officers to enforce proper weights and measures. The verse mentions the word yelecha twice. The first refers to the obligation to have proper measures. The second is to appoint enforcers. The Gemara brings a dispute whether it is necessary to appoint enforcers for price regulation. Shmuel held it was not necessary. Other merchants would undercut a price gouger's prices, leaving him no choice but to lower them. Karna held the gouger may wait until the other merchants sell out. Braisa's teaching methods of weighing. Number one, the rabbis decreed no weight should weigh less than 1/4 of a liter. A smaller amount was measured with coins. Number two, if the merchant has to weigh 3/4 of a liter, he uses a liter weight and 1/4 on the scale with the merchandise. He is not required to weigh it 3 times at the behest of the buyer, since he must tilt it each time. Even if it is a large quantity of merchandise, the merchant is required to measure only once, otherwise he would lose by tilting so many times. Specifications of suspended and standing scales. Number one, weighing metals. Large scales require suspension from the ceiling or elevation from the ground 3 tfachim when weighing, so it does not hit the ceiling or ground, causing the other scale to appear balanced. The strings must be 4 tfachim in length and the beam 4 across so it tilts properly. Number two, weighing wool and glass. They do not weigh large quantities. A 2 tefach distance suffices. Length of beam and strings must be 3. Number three, a storekeeper and householder scale. A 1 tefach distance suffices. Length of beam and strings combine altogether to 6. Number four, a gold and silver smith. They use the smallest scales, requiring only a 3-finger breadth distance. Specifications of weights and levels. Number one, weights and scales prohibited are not utensils, do not makabel tumah, even if part of the scale is the correct dimension. Number two, one must make weights either from stone or glass. Metal corrodes and loses some mass. 3, one must make a level not from something too light like a gourd that cannot penetrate the heap, or something heavy such as metal that penetrates too deeply, but it should be made of wood. In addition, one should level with 1 or 2 sweeps. Rabbi Yochanan was uncertain about publicizing measuring procedures. cheaters will figure out how to circumvent proper conduct. He decided to publicize based on the verse, Tzadikim yelchu bam u'reshoyim yikashlu bam. The Gemara explains the verse, Lo yisasu avil b'mishpat b'mida b'mishkal. Number one, mida refers to surveying. One should not survey for partners, one in the summer and one in the winter. The rope is dry in the summer and does not stretch as much. 2. Mishkal refers to soaking weights in salt to add to their weight. Number 3, Mesura. One should not pour liquids too quickly, creating foam on top. If you're enjoying Daf and 5, please click on the link below, subscribe, and become a sponsor. Have a good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom.